Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome to episode 16 of Trent Talks. I have my man, Stephen Larsen, with me today. Stephen, I'm excited to have you here, man.
Hey, thanks for having me. It's exciting, man.
This is going to be fun. So Stephen is the offer creation king. Um, I mean, dude, your background, we can go, you've built, is it 400 or 500 funnels now? I get confused.
I do too. It was somewhere around that, but there were single projects that were like well over a couple hundred funnels, so it was a
Right.
lot.
This guy's built 400 to 500 funnels. I mean, he spent 2 years right next to Russell, being Clickfunnels' primary funnel builder. So you can imagine he's gotten really, really good at creating the offers that are tied to the funnels. Not to mention now he is specialized, shall we say? Because I know you do everything. Specialized in as being the offer master with your own. Now you have Offer Lab, you have your Offer Mind. How do we call it? Not really mastermind, but your own offer mind event, just like Funnel Hacking Live. Yeah. Are we doing that every year now? Or are we doing multiple times or just once?
Offer Mind is once a year. Offer Lab's twice a year. Yep.
Offer Lab is twice a year. There we go.
Yeah.
So Stephen is absolutely the guy. I mean, I was sat at your table in 2018 at Funnel Hacking Live, and I got to admit, man, and I think I've told you this once before. I'm probably at the event, which is 2 years ago, so you probably forgot. It's okay. Yeah. But it totally changed the way I look at funnels. It totally changed the way I process things.
Cool.
I've been doing internet marketing since 2008. And one of the biggest things I used to do is, all right, well, let's just get everything in order. And then we'll figure out how we're going to sell this to the client.
Right.
And
we've all done that.
And that is just the most jacked up way to do it. Here I am. I was 5-6 years in. I'm like, gosh, I've been doing this wrong for the last 6 years. My poor clients. At least they got success on it, though. But you think about how much better you could have done. Yeah. So, two things. I want to give just a real quick snippet because I know you're like me. We can talk a lot.
Yeah.
But I want to give people a quick snippet of your really fast overview of your story for anyone that doesn't know you, because you didn't come into this with a silver spoon. Let's just put it bluntly.
Right. No, definitely not.
So I'll give you the fast version. So you were in the military and you read .com secrets, right?
Yes. Yeah.
And you were married.
Yep, married, had kids, in college,
and broke.
In the military, and we could barely eat. And it's actually one of the reasons I went into the military. I always wanted to, but that was definitely a perk. We could eat. And then I kept launching companies. I was launching businesses all the time, and none of them worked. And it got really painful, frankly. And I was at that point where everyone starts asking you, is this the one that's going to work? And you can't blame them.
I hate that question, though.
Same thing. It's a fair
question. I've had a few of those.
Yeah, fair question. And on the inside, I'm like, I have no idea. I hope that it is, and on the outside, I'm like, yeah, I got this, ain't nothing but a thing. I'm like super psyched about it. This is, of course, going to be awesome. Terrible, though. 12 failures pretty much in a row over 3.5 years.
Well, I didn't know that many.
Yeah, it was a lot.
Not to poke the knife and stir there, but wow.
No, it's true though.
Your persistence, dude, that's insane, man. Most people would give up after that.
I wanted it. I wanted it real bad. And I started, I read .com secrets. And for some reason, after that book, the gaps in my head started getting closed. And it was only 2, 3, 4 tries after that that really significant cash started coming in. And then since then, it just blew up from there. And so, yeah, it was fast pace. Ended up sitting next to Russell. And then after a while, I was like, hey, man, I got the itch. I got to just.
The itch came back. The itch came back. You're like, I got to go back and do my own thing again.
Yeah, I got to go do it again, And he's like,
was it a mental thing? Like, I just need the success. I had these 12 failures. Now I've got amazing training. I've worked at Russell. I've learned this process. I need that success of doing it on my own.
Yeah, some of it was that for sure. I needed the win, and I knew that I could do it. I just was a few shots away. By the time I actually got there, I think I was on try 17, and 17 was the one that really blew up. Wow. And then pretty much everyone after that has been successful. It's just been crazy to have that many in a row, and then pretty much all of them work after. It's like, what? So I started looking more inward and like, why did that work? And it is a lot that has to do with the offer, which is why I teach it now.
Absolutely.
Walk the path.
And for those that want to say, oh, well, you've got all these years into experience. I know your story. Like the bottom line is you left ClickFunnels with nothing.
Nothing.
Yeah, you may have had a little money saved up from working at ClickFunnels,
Not really though.
But
I mean, we had like
fair
4.
enough. But you just, but like, that's my point. Like, you didn't leave with there like, oh, I got this big nest egg, or I've got all these amazing like connections and all these sales lined up. You left and you started on your own.
Yeah.
And what was it now?
Year and a half.
15 months, 18 months?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah. And I know you just missed your goal because you had outstanding payments that didn't come in. That's the crazy part. You missed $1 million the first year by just a little bit. So kudos to you, man. Congrats.
Instead of 12. Not bad.
So I want to talk about, you are huge in creating offers. And this needs to be said that the offer is the very first point you start. But one of the things that I think people they don't understand, and I don't understand this fully either. So I'm going to ask you to get into this with the time we have.
Yeah, totally.
The ability for your brain, the chemical changes that your brain has in the sales process, whether it's, I know you have your acronym, which I apologize, I forgot already.
It's all right.
What is it?
Oh, Xavier, that one.
That one, yeah. So, but it's the ability, like your brain is triggered by whether it's completing a task, whether it's, that's the same thing. You get all the likes on your phone, you get that dopamine hit and you're like, what's going on? Yeah. So I would like you a little bit to dig into this and how it relates to creating your offer, because I think that's something that we all think like, oh, well, I know what my clients want. And so we just start typing it out and we don't think about the mental reactions that people are going to have when they're reading or engaging with things.
It's so true. It's fascinating because like, it's cool you bring that up. I used to think like, well, when I saw Russell, actually, when I read .com Secrets the first time, I was like, this is sick. Like, there's people doing this. This is awesome. I was sold on funnels, and I started by building the funnel. And then I would go and I would funnel hack somebody. I would model someone successful. And then I would be like, well, I got these pages built. What should I sell on them? And so then I'll start building the offer. And I would start building the products based on the constraint of what the funnel was that I was building. And then I'd be done building the pages and the products on top of them. And then I'd be like, well, this is cool. Like, how should I sell it? And I kept doing that and doing that and doing that. And funny enough, it's the exact opposite order where you find success. First you figure out a sales message and then an offer and then build the funnel that best displays it. Like when you get down to it, all a funnel really is a message and an offer, and that's it. And anything else is like a funnel isn't necessarily pages. You can stand on stage and you're the funnel, right? And deliver your message and your offer, right, for sales.
Well, I love the phrasing. And I've always used this, that a funnel it's the ability to just literally take someone through your sales process without you sitting in front of them.
Yeah.
Because I know you did a lot of door-to-door sales in the previous, and you know how that is. Like you're looking for trigger points, you're looking for things that evoke certain emotions and things and cause reactions in them. And that's how you're able to kind of break through that wall that everybody puts up.
Oh, so true. And so what's interesting is when you're starting to figure out like what sales message to go develop and build, one of the things that I look at is the current addiction sources they have. And usually when I say that, I get some scowls and people are like, what are you talking about? It's like, bear with me for a moment. We all do this. Statistically, we all check our phones 73 times a day now, even if there's no notifications. Mark Zuckerberg has even said that they hire addiction specialists to come in and make Facebook more addicting, which is why they get like billions of logins a day. We're very addicted to certain things. So one of the things I'm looking at is the market that I'm going and selling into. What are their current addiction sources? And to explain that, what I really mean is they're happy chemicals, right? And those happy chemicals they're already existing in the brain. And it's funny. Right. There's been times where I teach this, man, and then people are like, have this major conniptions over selling now. Cause they're like, I don't want to be the source of the drug, And I'm like, they already have it. It's already there.
They're already getting it. But it also comes back to what Russell says. Like you're doing a disservice at times if you're not providing them with your service.
Yeah. Keep the fun in buying, keep the fun in buying. They're expecting it, that phrase, people love to be sold. They love to buy, they hate to be sold. That's not actually that true, in my opinion. If you're good at it, they love both. People don't to be coerced. But anyway,
I love sitting in front of a good salesman. Like there's some of these. You've seen the video, of course. The kid, I think it's the black kid. He goes and he's selling the stuff and he's doing the entire conversation.
I've seen that.
Hey, I have watched that video so many times. That is one of my favorite videos to watch. Because his salesmanship is insane.
Yeah, it's super good. Super good. I love being sold because they're guiding you through the process.
Right.
a lot of entrepreneurs need to like get out of their head. Like, well, that's for the salesman. You are a salesman. You have got to get over the fact that, anyway, sales, and my belief is like the most prestigious thing you could ever be in sales and marketing. But anyway, so like when it comes to, it's more of a marketing activity to understand where their current addiction sources are. And there's 4 happy chemicals in the brain. We all naturally produce 4 happy hormones, and it's dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin, and endorphins. And I think of it as it's a dose. Dopamine is the chemical of distraction. So what I do is I look to see where do my customers get their current source of distraction or dopamine. One of the easiest ways that we all get distracted, and we choose to get distracted, is through like social media, which is why I brought that up, or checking our phones a million times. That's actually a small dopamine hit. However,
yeah, by the way, if you see me, I don't want to destroy your dopamine hit. I'm not ignoring you. I'm actually taking notes.
Oh, that's good. Totally fine. It's interesting. So like dopamine, yeah, chemical of distraction, easiest one to get. And when we are walking in a store, this case in point, to go get eggs, you never leave with just eggs, right? You're walking on out, you're like, hey, I should get some bread too, since I'm here. You didn't go for
Isn't dopamine the most addictive one as well?
It's super addictive. It's also the easiest to get. And I mean, walking through the store and be like, I should get some bread. We get that validation of that was a good choice since I'm here. And it's actually a source of that hormone.
I'm killing 2 birds with 1 stone. Yes.
Yeah. Like little validation there. And what happens is, as the buying process goes down, the right side of the brain starts to just get really loud with all the want of those chemicals. And it kind of overrides the left, all the logical side. You didn't come here for bread, only eggs, Well, that goes away. You're like, shut up, left brain, and it gets really, really loud on the right side of your head. And so as you're going through and buying, like, anyway, so dopamine is of distraction. The next one is oxytocin. This is actually, by contrast, the hardest one to get. It's the one that we also want the most.
Interesting.
Oxytocin is the chemical of connection. And after a while, we will actually give up. I mean, we'll give up our religions, our relationships, we'll give up all of our beliefs. We want to feel a sense of connection in our lives. We can have the other things in our life, but we really, really, really want connection, oxytocin. This is really fascinating. The easiest way to give that to a customer is actually when they buy. There's a huge oxytocin hit that happens. So you feel a sense of connection with the thing you've purchased.
Well, when there's that exchange of finances, they're exchanging their monetary, their time, all their effort that they got for that money. They're exchanging that for your product or service. There's that huge trust that's built. And that's exactly what you're talking about. Yeah.
No, it's interesting because what ends up happening is as you walk out the store and the purchase has happened, all these hormones that, I'll still talk about S and E, but like the hormones die down, they burn off. Yeah. And the left brain's there, and all of a sudden it's like, what did you just do? You didn't come here for bread,
Crap, now I have to go home and justify this to my wife.
Exactly. And if I can't justify it to my wife, if I can't justify it to somebody, right, my friends, my family, what happens is there's a sense of needing to save face, which is actually serotonin. S is status. Serotonin is a chemical of status. We want sense of status, not in like I'm better than you, but I want a sense of validation that I'm a worthy human being.
You want other people to say that you're worth our eyes or our time or our whatever. Yeah.
Yeah. And if I can't validate what I just did, and I got bread too, right? Then actually lose status. If I can validate it, I actually get that serotonin hit, which is interesting. And so we will arm our customers without them knowing that for that future conversation. The purchase is not over until they can defend their decision in front of their loved ones.
Dude, that's a huge statement. I don't know if I've actually ever heard someone say that. Yeah. That's a really good point, to say that it's not over till you can actually defend it after the fact.
It's so
because
true.
That pushes through that whole buyer's remorse aspect.
Yeah. And if you can't do that, then that's usually when you start hitting buyer's remorse. It's funny because marketing, sales, and closing are very different activities. Marketing, how I define it, is the act of changing beliefs with the intent of a purchase. That's all marketing is. It has nothing to do with logos, got nothing to do with slogans. Right. That's all branding that comes way down the road too. You don't need any of that to sell. So act of changing beliefs.
Say that last part again. You cut up just a second.
Oh, it's fine. So branding is something that comes way down the road. You don't need any kind of branding to actually sell.
Okay.
It helps later on for second sales, but during the first sales, especially,
It helps for loyalty.
yeah, as you go and build.
Right.
Like I didn't have a logo for the first 7 months because it doesn't matter. But we'd already made $500,000. You know what I mean? Like it doesn't.
I know.
It has nothing to do with it.
You're like, well, I guess I've made some money. I might as well hire a logo designer now.
Right, exactly. Yeah, yeah. Had nothing to do with that at the beginning. So marketing is the act of changing beliefs with the intent of a purchase. Sales is presenting an offer and overcoming objections. That's it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna present an offer and overcome objections. There's gonna be knee-jerk reactions they have to what I said. How can I overcome those? That's the act of sales. Closing's fascinating because it's actually how we arm the brain for that future conversation to justify what they just did. Closing is logical reasons to act now. And so what's funny is when you go and you have that conversation post-purchase that, hey, that was actually a smart decision, I'm not actually walking out and saying, yeah, I was my beliefs were changed, so there's intent of a purchase. You don't
Right.
marketing things. Sometimes you'll talk about a story, but the thing that usually everyone runs through is the actual third thing: closing. Logical reasons act now. Well, it was half off. Well, today it was buy one get one free.
Like the offer stack at the end of a webinar, where we look at an offer stack and you get, well, I only paid $9.97, but I got like $11,000 worth of value.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
This was free and that was free and this was free. And it gives you, it's what we just said. It gives you the ability to justify it and explain it after the fact.
And it's funny because it's emotional. It's logical, but it feels emotional.
Yeah.
The other way around. We think that it's logic, but it's really our emotions speaking.
Right. Well, that's the serotonin one you're talking about. So really what the serotonin is your ability to, God, this is going to sound awful, emotionally logicize or
yeah.
decision. Okay.
It's super interesting.
So what is the E then?
So
endorphins.
It's endorphins. Endorphins is a fascinating one. It's actually it's the one of the four that someone has to put work into in order to get back. A classic example would be running. After a mile, that's when you get that runner's high. That's not dopamine, oxytocin, or serotonin. It's actually endorphins. Endorphins come flooding in. It usually comes in when I call it the hormone of work reward. And so the easiest way to administer that, quote unquote, to a customer is by creating success paths, or check the box.
Giving them the ability to check the box on something.
Yeah, progress. So there's work reward. I get that hit, and that really is very bonding as you move forward because you start to hear statements from them like, "Well, I've come this far already. I might as well keep going." That's citing endorphins,
it's like that's the person I have to finish. I must finish. I must finish this project. I'm so close. I need that hit.
Yeah, exactly. So it's fascinating, and what I do is I look at where they're currently getting those sources and see if there's a way that I can use it as a blueprint for what I'm creating so that there's a very seamless transition. I don't want to change too much. I want to change product. I want them to buy mine instead of theirs, but I don't want too many of the things to shift around, make it really easy for them to come buy my thing. It's kind of a different way to look at it.
Well, like when you're looking at that process, right? And because my thought process as you're going through this is I'm thinking, this would be when you're analyzing these, once you really understand it, it could be a very good process to be able to kind of optimize your funnel and say, all right, look, I'm getting a lot of like chargebacks. Yeah. So I need to work on the serotonin part of it to be able to help them to give them that status, the ability to justify their friends and family what they're doing. So I need to work on my close specifically.
Yeah.
I mean, is that a legitimate, from what you look at, is that a legitimate way to view it?
Yeah, it really is, honestly. And usually it's a combo of chemicals. It's not usually just like one or the other, but there's a leading one typically, and then others that follow up behind it. But
I know you've done some studying this. That's why I'm asking these. But like, have you seen I know you've done a bunch of studying on this. Yeah. So that's what I'm asking. Have you seen that like people have tendencies to one another, or is it everybody kind of functions across the board the same?
Usually people kind of function around the same as general humanity goes.
You know what I mean? I didn't know, like, sometimes people are right and left brained. I didn't know if you have like, if you have to kind of gauge, well, this kind of person, if they're analytical, they're going to be more serotonin susceptible, or if this person is, that kind of thing.
Maybe I haven't got that deep into it, to be honest, but what I try to just make sure I do is understand where they're getting all the sources from. Then it makes it really easy to help them make the transition over. It's really fascinating. I am very careful. One of the things I've studied a lot recently, it kind of has to do with this, is some books call it the ecosystem. Every market has an ecosystem that keeps beliefs alive. Like you think about why somebody purchased in the first place. There's stories that they're upholding in their head. Well, I use this product. They usually don't cite the buy one, get one free thing after a while. Like after they've justified it, the reason they're citing staying in a market usually has to do more with stories. Well, I'm in this because so-and-so had success and so-and-so is able to do this. And I heard about a person who's able to, right. And they start what they cite is actually different and changes. Totally. It's really interesting. So my job is once they've purchased is to continue to add those dopamine hits with content. Content's one of the easiest ways to keep stories and beliefs alive. And so that's one of the reasons I publish so much is when they buy, they're in a brand new spot. You know, human beings are kind of lazy by nature and they take the path of least resistance, which is okay. But in order to get someone to stand up from a different market and walk to a place they may not know what it's going to be like, that's actually a big deal. And so as they come over to my market and they buy from my thing, they very easily could go back to their old way. And so one of the ways I install and keep those beliefs harbored in their head is by continuing to publish like crazy. There's more stories on keeping alive. It's really interesting.
So that's I'm following your DOSE acronym. So that you're really, what you're doing is you're following up with your dopamine, your oxytocin. You're kind of giving them those like excitements, like they get an email like, oh, wait, what's the email? Let me look real quick. Yeah. And then they get the oxytocin. Oh, they start to understand the stories and relate to you. And dude, that's so cool, man.
It's pretty fascinating.
Well, I know you gotta go here in a little bit. So I want to give you a chance to talk about what you have going on. Because I would be amiss and I'd feel bad for the audience if I didn't actually address and say, hey, this is how you can learn more about offers directly from Steve.
Appreciate it. Thank you. So it kind of depends what you want and where you are, what you're selling. But Sales Funnel Radio is my show. OfferMind is my event. OfferMind came from me. It's interesting. I was sitting, 2 feet from the man, sat back to back from Russell for a long time. And as I was listening, what's that?
The Godfather of Funnels.
Yeah, right. I would see zeros and ones coming to his head every once in a while. It was really interesting. It's conduit of light. Anyway, as I would sit there and I would listen to him, I'd listen to him coach a lot of his people and listen in a circle. And I was working, but I was right there. It's hard not to hear. And so I'd hear the way he'd handle different situations. And I think my unique ability is I'm very observant. And so I would observe, in this scenario, that, in that scenario, this, and back and forth. And I took a lot of notes. And it was interesting. After a while, probably about 5-6 months in, I was like, dude, you're like saying the same thing to every single person. And he goes, yeah, I know. Isn't that interesting? And I go, that is super fascinating. Like, so what we ended up doing was creating a program for his people where instead of taking them from the ground all the way up, it was just like from here up. It gave him a foundation. And I went through it took me 6 months, but I went through 12 years of his content and I organized it. And I said, in order to know that, you really got to know this. In order to do that, you really have to do that. And it was a huge project. And we actually launched it as the first original 2 Comma Club coaching program. And it was me and 600 students. That was it. And I was the only coach. And it was just coaching. And a lot of people started having success. I mean, it's baptism by fire because I was just like with
I was just saying, you learned to coach in a hurry.
Cool, quick. And, while I was thinking, I'm going to teach this, whoa, what they really need is this, and I'd spend 4 hours every Friday with them. And anyway, it was interesting. After about a year, I would be dumb to not see patterns. And we went and we relaunched another program. Thankfully, brought in other coaches. That we launched it again, more coaches. And then we launched the One Funnel Away, and I'm on the daily coach with that now. I've coached like 20,000 people. So what OfferMind is, it is me observing the holes that the community has. And it's a living, breathing event. Whatever I see the holes are, that's what I go teach. That's what OfferMind is. So anyway.
So where does if someone wants to, they're just like, this is the first time they're bumping into you. They want to find out more about you.
Yeah.
Instagram.
SteveJLarsen.com.
Okay. Yeah, SteveJLarsen.com. There we go. So, well, man, I really appreciate it. It's been a pleasure having you on. I always love to hear you talk about offers, man. It's just like
Thanks, man.
I guess that's my dopamine hit. It's addictive. I'm on the podcast. I'm like, oh, shoot. I'm not going to go back and watch the YouTube channel because I didn't get to see what he pointed out on that board. Dang it. Then I go back and watch the whole YouTube video again. And so, well, man, again, thank you so much. It's been a pleasure having you on. Guys, this is Trent Talks. Again, that's Stephen Larsen. If you guys are having issues with offers, you're putting out funnels and people aren't buying, guess what? It's probably your offer. Go find this guy, find his content. He's the man. Steve, appreciate it, man. Love you, buddy.
Awesome.
Have a great day.
Have a good one. Bye.
I really hope you enjoyed and got a lot of value of this video. If you did, make sure you like, subscribe, and comment below. I'm going to be answering all the comments myself. And also, come find me on your favorite social media platform and tell me what else I can help you with.